Hey guys, this is Krista Henry with Haven Real Estate, and I'm here with Daniel Bahr today for another edition of our powwow. Dan is the owner and founder of Smooth Moves. It's a moving company in the good old 210. And we're here today to talk about moving, as you can imagine. So there's so much more to moving than just getting things from A to B. There's logistics, packing items, safely packing items, and then setting, proper expectations with everyone, which everybody loves to set a proper expectation. And so Dan's here to kind of explain to us the ins and outs of that process. So Dan, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit and kind of give a brief overview of the type of services that Smooth Move offers?
Certainly. Thank you very much for the introduction, Krista. Yes, my name is Daniel Bahr with Smooth Move San Antonio, technically. We've been in business since 2014, but I've been moving since 2003. So I've been in the moving business quite a long time and actually started my company as a result of actually enjoy the moving process. So, which is odd to hear, but we're delighted to be able to provide that to our clients. We are DOT registered and Texas DMV certified moving company, but we're fairly small, so we're able to be pretty dynamic with the San Antonio market, as well as the surrounding communities. Let's see. Yeah, I think that sets us up pretty well to get started.
That's a good summation. That's a good summation for sure. So one of the things that we wanted to kind of share with you guys is, okay, the home buying and selling process is a whirlwind in itself, right? You've purchased the home, you've sold a home, you've negotiated the contract, you've worked with lenders, you've given them 450 documents and your latest pay stub, and they know everything and anything about you. Then you look around and wherever you're currently living, you're thinking, oh geez, I've got now 500 million items and great grandma's china that I haven't opened, but still there that I need to move. Some people choose to move on their own, but if someone's on the fence about moving, what are the benefits of a mover versus you doing it? Okay, go.
Great question. So the offloading, as it were, pardon the expression, the heavy lifting to the movers has a lot of benefits to it. One is the reduction of stress. And I know what we hear anecdotally a lot of times is, oh, well, I don't know if the movers are going to treat the things that I own with the same care that I would. A proper registered and experienced moving company does that. Right, so they'll make sure that everything is boxed up if those are part of the services that you wish to employ, and wrap everything, disassemble everything that you need to have. They'll be able to assess the scope of your move. Right, if you're moving from a 3,000 square foot house you've lived in for 15 years, and you've accumulated so many belongings, like you mentioned, great aunts china, as well as now we have a hot tub. Now we have other things like that. A lot of those are kind of daunting things to be able to experience and to put together and understand, how do I want to have this moved over? Is it feasible? Right. And so consulting with a moving company will allow you to have a good understanding of what, not only the logistics of planning it, how much time will it take to pack, how many trips it may take to move everything over, how many men will it take to make all this happen in a reasonable amount of time, and then what are your expectations? Some people prefer to box everything up themselves, and many prefer to have those services outsourced, right? And a moving company, whether it be a small residential moving company like ours, or a large van line, can often offer all those services and be able to explain, what the coverage options are, how to make it happen, what each is, scheduling and availability, and also know the nuances with each item, right? If it is an antique china cabinet, right, or a concert grand piano, each one of those takes a little bit different approach, right? So if they have glass shelves, things like that, we take them out and make sure that they're wrapped. If they are beds, disassembling them, make sure they're wrapped and protected. We have we move all in the years we've done this service or provided services. We've run it everywhere between people that have never done this before, right? Which is a great opportunity for us to guide them along. Like, it's going to take us. We have to empty these things and be able to move them over, and wrap them and unplug them and do all the things that need to do to prepare them, and then move them out correctly. And then we have a lot of people that have done this multiple times in the last few years, right? We're living in a military town. So we see a lot of people that are getting reassigned, redeployed in other areas.
And this is
So they do this as a, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've done this quite a lot. We've kind of pruned things down as a result. But we can give them, and a competent moving company can be able to give them the guidance throughout that process to know what's going to be involved, right? To set that expectation, but also understand what the expectations are from the client, right? So we can make sure we're on the same page and be able to align our services to what their needs are.
Yeah. Stress, time. I mean, time is probably a huge one too. Like, just because you do this from the day in and day out, the efficiency that you guys work with versus like somebody like me trying to move something from point A to point B is probably exponentially quicker, I would imagine.
Yeah, and it certainly is. I think what a lot of apprehension people have for moving, they say, "Oh, moving's the most stressful part." And from a personal experience, because I actually enjoy moving and I can visualize how I'm looking around my room right now, like how I pack up my chairs and I put my table together, all the things that we have, how I'd be able to do that. The thing that stresses me out are the nuances of moving to a new location, changing addresses, changing insurance, doing all the things that you might be able to, you make a checklist for it, but have I dealt with this? Is it in place? Do I have coverage on my new home when I need it? And that's where the realtor is fantastic, right? To be able to kind of massage that transition too. But there are certain things there. The moving part, actually boxing things up, once you determine what it is that you want to keep, right? Which in most cases is a vast majority, but moving also gives people an opportunity to say, you know what? I don't really want this to go in my new house. I like it, but it doesn't really match, or this may not fit, or we may be upsizing because we have a new addition to the family, or we may be downsizing because this one's going off to college, right? And that's an opportunity to adjust what's going on, right? And to make that tweak with regards to how things are moving to the new house.
Sure. No, I totally agree. Like, it's a great way to Maria Kondo your life, and say, does this bring me joy? And really just kind of minimalize, if you can, what's the most important, which kind of goes back to, once you've done that type of scenario, you've got to now put things in boxes and like pack properly. I don't know if there's a proper word, but pack, right? And I'm sure that there is a proper way, and I don't want you to give all of your gems and secrets, but what are some tips and tricks about like actually packing that might help people get their minds wrapped around that?
We have seen it all. And when I say seen it all, a lot of clients they'll disassemble beds, depending on how much level of comfort they have, and box things up. When it comes to boxing things, and specifically the biggest challenge is books and dishes, right? And so what I would tell clients first and foremost is most, including the Lowe's, Home Depot, U-Haul, they will take back the boxes that you don't use. So I would say buy extra items, because best case scenario, you have plenty of things, right? Best case scenario, you take them back and get a refund for whatever you don't use. The last thing you want to be able to do is try and cram things or be left with trying to fill suitcases or things like that, or just saying, I can't take it because I don't have enough, and it's, we're at the 11th hour and I don't have the resources. So eliminating some of that stress is just getting as many packing materials as you can, and then taking back whatever you don't use. In some cases, we've credited the clients and taken it off their hands because we know we can use them for somebody else, right? So there's some benefit to that too. But when it comes to dishes, is making sure that every item is wrapped. We've moved a number of clients, and you can hear things rattling around, and that kind of has my heart skipping a little bit, and I pick them up individually because we want to make sure they get the ultimate care. But if everything is packed individually, you're not going to hear glasses hitting each other, and you know that you can them fairly quickly and efficiently and ensure that the contents are going to be undisturbed, and make it a safe trip to the new residence. Another thing I would say is making sure that the boxes are packed in a way that it doesn't compromise that box. So the heaviest items should go in the smallest box. And there's a reason why some of the small boxes, they call them book boxes, because books should all go in the smallest boxes. We can actually, and the integrity of that box is able to hold that item safely, and we can stack them up and we can be able to make the move safely. In any situation where there's a very large box and there's heavy items in it, the box might start compromising as we try and lift it, and that may slow us down or necessitate even repacking it again. So making sure that we're mindful as we can be when it comes to the integrity of the box, but also making sure things go in there safely is paramount. Let's see, anything that's glass, I would also say should also be, whether that's a tabletop, right? And when we come in, we provide moving pads, we provide stretch wrap, moving bands, protective materials on anything. Anything that requires it is going to get protected. And the variance in the moving company approach to how that's done has been vast, I would say, right? But we found that our experience, or our customers' experience rather, is best when we come in, we're able to pack everything up so that transitioning it goes very quickly, it goes very smoothly, it protects the item while it's in the home, but also while it's in transit. And allowing us to make sure we can do that, it sets the move up for success primarily. The other thing I would say is if there's any disassembly that a client feels like they are most comfortable with, that always helps the move go faster, right? So we're thinking about ways that we can do that. Is some people feel that I can take a bed apart. Well, if you can do that, that generally helps to speed up the pace in which we can, wrap that up and prepare it. What I would say is I wouldn't try and embark upon a new endeavor in doing that. When you're moving and there's so many things going on, you're like, how can I make this go a little bit faster? If you don't 100% feel comfortable with it, leave it as is, and the moving company can make sure that we can see to it that it is prepared and disassembled and then reassembled at the new location, because we'll also have firsthand context on how it comes apart. For those who have done IKEA beds, or some of those that have a lot of these little screws and these little reinforcement bracing and things like that, you almost have to take them apart to know how to put them back together. So in order to do that, we just ask that we have all the tools and all the directions to help us go ahead and reassemble it. It comes with bunk beds and things like that too. Right. Even refrigerators may need to be, the doors may need to come off to go through an exterior door, right? And sometimes having an idea on how that's to be done helps us make sure we align our services. And also if it's estimated based upon time, if it takes a little bit more time on that, we want to make sure we're upfront with the customer. Right. Because taking the doors off, either the whole house door, right, or the door off the appliance are each things we need to make sure we can consider. Right. So that helps it go pretty well too.
Right. Well, and it's helpful that you've done that once or twice, versus somebody like who's moved maybe a handful of times and they're like, oh shoot, how are we going to get the fridge through the door? Right. And you're like, oh no, I got this. Like, look, this is all you do. Ding, 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 ding. Boom. Like the convenience factor really goes a long way, and the expertise factor does too. Yeah.
Oh, certainly. Well, it seems like a daunting for so many people. And we hear this, I wouldn't say every move, we like, we'd never be able to do this without you, or we'd never be able to figure out how to do that on our own. And, there's little things that come with the business, just being in it for a while, that we can see how, like, for instance, it seems really simple, but if we're trying to move something across the floor, we could just take a moving pad, a thick one, and set something on it, be able to pull it through the house to get through a lot of the doorways and maybe really tight and not allow you to do it otherwise, and protect the floor, protect the item, and do it fast. And we've had people say that's a genius way of doing it. And it's just out of necessity of resourcefulness, we've discovered it, and it works really well for us. And it's just picking up on the best ways to be able to serve a client from the experiences of others too.
Right.
So a lot of those things are fantastic. And imagine a lot of your clients out there looking to buy or sell a house. If you bring the expertise from what you do every day, that
Sure.
you may be able to do this something very simple that just
Right.
amazes somebody you work with,
Right.
right? So it just comes with the trade.
Cool, 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 cool. Okay. So now we've done it, right? You've packed up the thing, we've moved it from point A to point B, and you're in this nice, new, lovely house that's empty and super echoey, and you're like, but it's mine, yay. What, how do you strategize? I know you also unpack people, right, into their new spots. How do
Yeah.
you see successful strategies of unpacking? Like I've seen like certain like buyers do it a certain way, but and we can kind of melding of minds to see how it worked. But what have you seen as some successful ways to make that happen?
So I think you're spot on. When you say melding of minds, it is everybody has an idea of how, or generally most people have an idea of how they want it laid out,
Yeah.
right? Um, and being able to bring things in and kind of look at like, oh, will this fit here, right? And still allow you to be able to ingress and egress out of these rooms. And this is a main corridor. Do you want to have this item right here? Being able to kind of walk through it with a customer or client rather, because each person has their idea because they know that they're going to move things around a number of different times,
Right.
right? Because you may have a number of different members of the household that all want to see things happen differently. And they
Right.
may have their own domains, be like a bedroom, like a kid would want their bedroom set up in a certain way. And whereas one of the homeowners may want to have, okay, this is where the dining room and this is how the living room is going to be set up, but also is have an idea, right, of where these items are going to go prior to. And that's the great thing about the final walkthrough, because generally the final walkthrough is done when there's no furniture in the house.
Right.
Am I correct?
Yeah, you are correct.
Yeah. So you can walk in there and know with less clutter, still having an idea of how the last client had some things set up, but also how now with a clean slate, how do you want to put those things in there? Right,
Yeah.
have an idea of how we can start gives us a framework in which we can build off to say, okay, we're going to put these items in these rooms. Um, One part of that digresses to go back to address how do we ensure that the boxes from that room get put in the room you desire them to go into, right, from the move. So I will say from a preparation standpoint, not just boxing things up based upon size, but also knowing either where they came from or the destination in which they're intended to go.
Hmm.
So, and we've seen both, and both employ very successfully. Some people say, I want the kitchen things from the kitchen and the pantry marked separately because the pantry is going to be set off in the new house differently. Or we don't have a living room, but we're going to now take the family room and living room together, and they're going to go in the new area, right? So make sure we label the boxes, or they will label it themselves. That way, when we get the new house, we can just ensure that they go in that location.
Right.
Not necessarily for furniture, because those are usually fewer items than there are boxes, but just having a good idea where those items should go, and we can always make adjustments,
Sure.
right? So moving things at the end once we get it in there and safely placed helps kind of give an idea for, okay, here's everything that's going to go in the house. Now we need to make some adjustments. Your mover can help make that happen,
Yeah.
right? And most people can assume they can, but let me just assure you that we can, because ultimately we want you to be moved in your house. I want you to feel like you're getting settled. You're in the path towards really making your house your home. And in order to make that happen is getting everything situated into a place that you are where you need to be.
Yeah.
And we can help all along the step of the way.
Cool. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like labeling those boxes is definitely a really helpful scenario because I've seen like, okay, you know what? These are all the living room boxes. So you put them all in the living room. And then I've seen people like, oh, no, like this is like a garage thing. Like we're going to put them all in the garage and I'm going to slowly piecemeal everything in so that way I can feel successful and unbox one box at a time and not have this mound of belongings in my house. But yeah, no, that's some good tips. Good tips for sure. Okay,
Very true.
sweet. Okay, thank you for the knowledge drop, good sir. I appreciate all
Well,
of the helpfulness and your time today. So we're going to include all of your contact information in the part of this, so that way people can reach out to you and capitalize on all of your services and fantasticness. And additionally, I know we kind of talked about a promotion for people who have seen this and are a part of Haven Real Estate, which is the brokerage that I'm a part of. So do you want to share some details about that loveliness that you're willing to extend to our clients?
Certainly. So we appreciate that. Smooth Move San Antonio is primarily a referral-based moving company. So you're not going to find a lot of our information out online, but in doing so, that allows us to be able to provide very good service to our customers and still keep our schedule balanced and available. So in addition to our referral-based discount, we're offering all Haven Real Estate clients a 5% additional discount for services where applicable until December 31st of 2020. So this is unprecedented in the years we've done this, but I love the fact that Haven operates, and of course you operate, Krista, so efficiently that it often allows our services to merge very well there. So I feel confident in offering that discount, and we're pleased to offer it to be able to provide a better service. Wouldn't say better service, but a better value to our clients.
Well, you've moved many of my clients, and they've all spoken very highly of you and the experience. So we appreciate that. And I appreciate doing future business with you too, and extending that good word of mouth to help your business grow. So thanks for your time, Dan. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And till the next move, or until we powwow again. All right.
All right. Thank you again.
Bye.